This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
Former Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor, of course, out of a job, as we know, but he's headed back to court, not as a defendant, but as a witness again. It's been less than a month since Proctor was fired for misconduct, tied directly to the Karen Read investigation, and now his name is back in the headlines, sitting squarely on the witness list for Read's second murder trial. You know, the one where she's accused of killing Boston police officer boyfriend John O'Keefe. Now, if you remember the first trial, and the jurors certainly do, Proctor didn't exactly win hearts or instill trust when he took the stand. Jurors were seen literally shaking their heads during his testimony. And that wasn't because of some complicated forensic data or technical jargon. No, it was because of his own texts that he had sent out. And let's go back down memory lane, shall we? And
by the way, this is some stunning testimony. And, if you are sensitive to words, you're not going to like this.
Yeah.
Very derogatory.
It has icky words in it.
Yes, it does.
So, yeah, I don't get offended by words. But if you do, there you go.
You've been warned.
Let's take a look at this testimony.
What did you mean then when you said she's fucked?
After the day's investigation with multiple troopers conducting multiple tasks and a debriefing at Canton PD amongst detectives in my office, we went through the overwhelming amount of evidence against Miss Read that she struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle. That's what I meant by that comment.
What you meant by that comment, Trooper Proctor, was you were going to make sure because 5051 had said she's going to skate. She's skating. When you said zero chance she skates, she's fucked. What you meant was I am going to make sure Ms. Read doesn't skate. She's fucked. That's what you meant, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
And then Bird decides to chime in. Good, no ass bitch, right?
Yes, that's what he wrote.
And how did you respond to Bird saying, good, no ass bitch?
I laughed.
Thought that was funny, did you? Trooper Proctor? Thought that was funny?
It was unprofessional of me. That's something I shouldn't have done.
Well, I think we all know it was unprofessional. It was a lot of things. I'm asking
Yep.
you, did you think it was funny?
According to my response at the time, apparently.
That little display there helped sink the prosecution's momentum, and according to legal analysts, played no small role in the trial ending in a mistrial. That mistrial, of course, reset everything, and now here we go again. Same case, new trial with Proctor's career already in the rearview mirror, but his actions still very much at play. We're going to see a reenactment of this, I'm sure, in the next trial as they call him, and I'm sure they'll do the same dog and pony show. Maybe I don't know how they're going to improve it, or because it was pretty well done the way he played it that time. How much do you think it's going to affect a jury this time?
It's still the same testimony. The evidence doesn't disappear. It's still the same vile testimony. I think had we not known about this, the case would have been completely different. But now that we peeled back the curtain, and boy, we found a monster back there. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that he did, in fact, set her up to look as though she killed John, but it certainly shows some distrust here, and professionals that we rely on to protect us, we're not doing that, and we're not acting in our best interest as the public. So it gives some doubt. It gives a lot of doubt. So this coming back out again, him having to sit on the stand and again defend what he said, I think it sets up the case to be almost exactly the same.
It makes you wonder, but there are the prosecution has more things in their court this time, like specifically things like this.
Resign, all of you! Resign! Shame you are a disgrace to the badge!
It's like a subculture cesspool when it comes to Johnny's case. If you don't believe that Karen's innocent, you become a target. And that's what makes it all so terrifying.
We are chopping these people down one by one and shaming them.
There have been supporters of Karen Reed who'd call them cop killers online, who call their places of work and call them cop killers.
That's a cop killer right there.
They have been stalking the witnesses.
Hey, Jen, how you doing? Fancy seeing you here.
Following them to lacrosse games to do nothing other than intimidate a mother, a family, kids. There are no boundaries.
Ryan Albert, Colin Albert, every single person who was in that fight, Ryan Higgins, all of them, Matt McCain. Poor Troy.
They had their lives turned upside down, and if you look at the reality of the story, they were trying to do the right thing in the moment, and this is the thanks they get.
It's just unbelievable. All the people in that house, one by one, picked apart by this mob.
Killers!
Johnny would have been disgusted by the whole thing. This is more than dishonest. I mean, this is vile.
It's unimaginable what my entire family is going through. I am a witness. That's all I am. I am not on trial. I am a witness. And these people are terrorizing me.
Constant phone calls, emails, awful messages, people emailing my school. Just like a lot of harassment. Can I have a moment, please?
Sure. It's impossible for me to have any sympathy for any of these witnesses. Definitionally, is it harassing witnesses? Yes, they're witnesses against me in my prosecution. And is he yelling things at them? And is he going up to their front doors and ringing the bell? Yes. But they shouldn't be witnesses. They should have been suspects. So it's not cut and dry.
She is so not wise.
She shouldn't have said any of that. It's one thing to think it, but to just come out and just say it,
She completely admitted that she knew that it's witness, and yeah. It's like flat out says
claimed that she had nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
And boy, I feel bad that these people are being harassed like that. But I don't have any control over what people do. No, she owned it.
No, you do have control, especially when you're talking with the guy who's doing it all the time. And we see the...
So, yeah, that's a problem.
So there's that. So it's, as I've been saying, this is a case that it shouldn't be about character, but it is. Because that's how they're playing it. The defense of Karen Reed is essentially, tearing apart, all of these detectives and their families and such. And again, in no way am I defending Proctor or anything like that, but they're making it about character and saying the character basically of these people, look at this, how can you trust them? They were in charge of the crime, but how can you trust them when they do this or that, or they say this or that? Well, now we can do the same about Karen. How can you trust her when she says things like that?
Let's just hypothetically say that she's a shitty person. Let's just say that.
Hypothetically.
Okay. It still doesn't cast aside how this investigation played out. It doesn't cast aside that they put evidence in a paper bag. There's a lot of things that were wrong with this case well before we knew about the character of Karen Reed.
Sure.
And I don't know that there are specific things that point to her maliciously trying to kill John.
No.
So at the end of the day, we may just have a person we would never hang out with who got wrapped up in this. I know a lot of cops. I know a lot of sheriff's deputies. I'm appalled by Michael Proctor and his behavior because as a woman, that's terrifying. I want to believe that law enforcement would be there for me if I needed them. And that they wouldn't be talking about me behind my back and calling me a whack job and a babe with no ass. I wouldn't take that as a compliment. It's not appropriate behavior. I'm very appalled that this even went on. So I guess I'm blinded by that. I have a hard time even paying attention to Karen Reed. I'm just focused on you shitheads behind the scene.
Well, and that's what they're relying on. That's what, and the thing is, none of it has anything to do with the murder of John O'Keefe.
Right.
It has everything to do with people acting badly.
Yeah.
With people acting shitty everywhere. Karen's acting shitty. They acted shitty. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, guy's dead. And because of everybody's screwed up actions in all of this, everyone's ended up making it about themselves. I mean, Karen certainly has. And again, she's obviously on trial, for her freedom. So I get that. But there's just so much here that none of this would have happened if it wasn't an overcharge. And that's, you got to go all the way back and go, well, okay, yes. And that's where you start to wonder, how did we get to second degree murder on this? I still don't see it. I still don't see where they were, undoubtedly dead set that this could be a second degree murder charge. I don't know. Is there certainly suspicion that she hit him? Yeah, without a doubt. I don't know if she did. I don't think a lot of evidence necessarily points to it. Again, I think he just fell out there and then, maybe scraped himself, and that's where you get all that. I think that's a very logical explanation. Could the vehicle have had something to do with it? Did he lose his balance leaning on it? Did she strike him a little bit, but not enough where it's going to make an impact? I mean, if you got hit at that miles an hour that she was going in reverse, which she denies in the doc that she even did that, even though it's factual there. There's not a mark on him that would indicate that he was struck by the vehicle. I don't think her going in reverse necessarily indicates that he was struck, because there isn't this evidence. And again, you get to the microscopic fibers in his clothes. That's what I was hanging on for a very long time. And I was thinking, well, how do you argue that one? But even more so, like there's a way you could get those microscopic pieces of plastic into someone's clothes after the fact. There is. There's no way after the fact that you would be able to make it look like he wasn't struck by a vehicle. You can't undo injuries. You can't undo an impact into a human body. And there isn't that impact on the body.
Right.
So, yeah. At the end of the day, it's insane. Despite the messages and his dismissal from the state police, Proctor, his camp has not wavered. His wife and sister, who, surprise, are also on the witness list, say the messages didn't compromise the investigation. His wife, Elizabeth Proctor, told reporters that this is all just courtroom misdirection. I think it did compromise the investigation because it showed he was not unbiased. So, yeah, it did compromise the investigation. He should have never been on the investigation. That's what should have happened. He should have never been a part of it because he did not recuse himself from it. There's another big problem in this whole damn thing.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a conflict of interest, I'd say.
Yeah. So,
there's so many troubling parts to this. It isn't just that Karen is an unlikable person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that everything surrounding this investigation is just clouded with mud.
Yeah, it's unlikable everywhere.
Everywhere.
The take from the Proctor camp, the prosecution has the facts and the defense is simply turning the spotlight on her husband to muddy the waters. Yeah, they are to a certain extent, but his words didn't kill John O'Keefe, but his words certainly point to a very biased investigation. Whether she did it or not, you can't have a biased investigation against a guilty person. You can't have it against an innocent person. That's what an investigation does. It goes and you determine whether there's something that has happened here or not that warrants such a charge. And the fact that they had that attitude from the beginning kind of makes you go, oh, that's probably why they did second-degree murder. Just really, really give it to her. Text to friends and family on his personal phone, she says, aren't enough to derail the murder case, but it already has. Let's not forget those same texts sparked an internal investigation, got Proctor canned, and the fallout in the eyes of many tainted the trial beyond repair. And when your lead investigator's credibility is in the gutter, so is your case's foundation. And he still was the lead investigator. He's not there anymore, but he was on this case. You can't take that away either, just like you can't, take away the bruises on someone that aren't there or add them if they're not there. And speaking of shaky foundations, you have the blogger who was charged with harassing and intimidating witnesses during the first trial. He's also on the witness list. He's not alone. There's Brian Higgins, the ATF agent, reportedly inside the same house where O'Keefe ended up outside dead. The homeowner, Brian Albert, and his family, also on the list. And then there's Dr. Daniel Wolf, the accident reconstruction expert, lined up to reanalyze the physical evidence. Basically, had anything to do with the first trial, whether you were inside the house, near the driveway, or scrolling Twitter too loudly, you're probably on the witness list. One name that won't be testifying this time, Michael Easter. He's a retired FBI agent who was expected to dismantle the original investigation piece by piece, but on Monday, Judge Bev granted the prosecution's motion to block his testimony. His expert breakdown of how the police allegedly fumbled the case, not coming to a courtroom near you. So here's where we land. The person who was supposed to bring clarity and leadership to the investigation, Michael Proctor, ended up bringing chaos and controversy. And now in round 2, he's back under oath, minus the badge, with a reputation already in flames. So there you go. That's what we have to look forward to. Monday, is that?
I want to say Tuesday. I think it begins Tuesday.
Okay.
I think everything begins Tuesday. We have Lori Vallow on Tuesday. For some reason, Monday, is Monday a holiday or something?
I don't know.
Like everything is landing on Tuesday.
Everybody wants to take a big breath before we dive into the insanity that's about to start in 2 courtrooms at the same time. And if you want to follow it all, we're going to have the audio for both trials here on the podcast feed. If you want to follow each case individually, we have a channel for that too. You can just check us out, look up our True Crime Today, and you can even get it all ad-free as well. You can check that out on our True Crime Premium Plus. So get ready for next week because it's a-coming.
The world of true crime never stops, and neither do we. Press subscribe now to get daily updates, in-depth analysis, and expert opinions from the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today. In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
Where hidden killers roam, unnoticed, in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Bruschi as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.